lovers. It is Jesus here, and I am here with special guest
Abby from Abby Lucy the Book Lover,
and
Sash from Sash Reads.
And we're here today to do the fictional boyfriends tag. We are here for Rare 2023, which is a romance readers and authors convention. And I figured, what better video idea to film than do something that has to do with romance and lovers? So I'm here today to do this tag, and I am so curious about everyone's answers, especially because we are now seasoned romance readers. Before I start, I'm just so excited to do this collaboration with you guys. Like, I think that this is the dream collab.
Yeah, I know. I'm so excited. Like, just to even have like more than one of us on the screen together when we've always been watching each other, it's just like, oh, like, you're real.
I can touch you. Good vibes all around. I guess without further ado, let's get straight into the tag. Prompt number 1 is the most romantic boyfriend. You guys want me to answer first?
Yeah. We didn't even figure out what order we should answer.
Whoever wants to answer first, they can jump in.
Hey, I'll go. Can I say this was the one that I found the hardest, because when I think of all the boyfriends, most of them aren't necessarily romantic. They're sweet, they will die for you, but is there much romance there? I found this really hard, so I picked one that I don't feel romantic for at all, but just in their book, it was just cute, it was sweet, it was fun, and that's Nick from the Heartstopper comic.
Oh yeah!
Like, he is such a romantic boyfriend. Not for me, a literal child, no, but the fact that he is so sweet to Charlie, he is always there for him, and like, you know, watching the show and being like, why can't boys just be like this in books? Like, they need to be like soft and sweet and just like care about the people. I was so glad that I finally found someone, because I was like, I still like, I read romance books and no one's romantic, what is this?
For me, it's Desmond Flynn from the Bargainer trilogy. This story starts as a hate to love romance on one side and a hate to love romance on the other side. How do I explain this? Half the book is told in the past and half the book is told in the future. Where in the past, Desmond Flynn is a little bit reserved from Calypso, and in the future, he's a lot more romantic, but Calypso is more reserved. And seeing the future him coming into his feelings, knowing exactly what he wants, seeing him like that just felt so romantic, and he, for me, gives romantic boyfriend material.
I think of Lance Orion from the Zodiac Academy series. He is Darcy's romantic interest. Even though he's a teacher and like they have to sneak around a bit, the way he plans his dates are just so romantic, and I love him.
Now I want to read it. I'm already gonna go into it with a bias.
Ultimate book boyfriend.
Alright. Oh yeah, I'm the one who's reading the books. We could have just kept going about romantic boys. Okay. Prompt number 2 is a dark and moody bad boy with a good side. I wonder if we have the same answer for this one.
I don't know.
Okay. Let's answer at the same time in 3, 2, 1.
Tristan.
Griffin.
Adam.
No. I mentioned Griffin from the Bonds That Tie series because he is dark and moody to begin with. He very much gives off dark and moody boy with a good side vibe. This series is actually a Why Choose series where the protagonist has 5 love interests, and Griffin just so happens to meet that description the best.
I chose Tristan from Scarred by Emily McIntyre. So this is a reimagining of The Lion King, but it's based in the villain's perspective. So Tristan is the Scar character, and he's the romantic interest, and then the female main character is Sarah, who's Sarabi character, and Sarabi's come to kill Michael Mufasa. Tristan figures that out pretty quickly, but they still love each other, and he is also, because Scar wants the crown, he's also planning an uprising, but he's still got like a good side towards Sarah, and even though he's like evil, like he is the villain, you still love him and want to root for him.
I had no idea that that was a Lion King reimagining. I knew that this series kind of replicated the formula of wicked villains, but I had no idea. It makes me want to read it even more.
Scarred's my favorite. Everyone I've talked to, they don't like Scarred. They prefer Hooked or Twisted.
Well, I picked Adam for the Love Hypothesis. I don't really read a lot of dark books, so like mine are going to be very mid in my like actual like these romances. But I don't know, he was just like such a moody character, but he's just got the softest spot for Olive. So like every other situation in his life, he's an asshole to everyone. And it doesn't matter who it is. It's his friends, it's his family, it's other colleagues. He's like, nah. But like Olive is just the only person that he's just like, no, I would literally die for you. Okay, like so he is such a moody character, but he does have just that good side that's only directed at her, which I just feel like he fit the prompt so well for this.
That's a good answer.
Prompt number 3 is your paranormal boyfriend.
You know, my paranormal boyfriend is the same as when I did it in the tag last time, but it's Adrian from Bloodlines. I will always love him. He's a great character. I don't matter how many books.
About Adrian.
You haven't.
still haven't read Bloodlines.
Oh no!
I mean, I already kind of know a few things. I was wondering whether to reread Vampire Academy, but I think I'm just gonna skip the reread and go into it. I think I just didn't collect them because I hate the covers.
Yeah.
I need to push past that.
But absolutely, I just love him. It's been so many years, I've never reread the series, but it's like every time I think of Paranormal Boyfriends, I'm like, top of the list. I love him so much.
For me, it's Hudson Vega from the Crave series.
I haven't read that one yet.
Okay, so Hudson Vega from the Crave series. Someone's enjoying their stay in this hotel, that's for sure. They must know that we're doing some sort of romance tag. Well, it is the weekend of Rare, so... you know. Initially, I didn't like the dude. If you start reading the Crave series, you would know that he's the second love interest who is later introduced. You know, you don't know what's going on with him, but you realize that he is the ultimate paranormal boyfriend because as opposed to another character in the series, he's not just the paranormal vampiric boyfriend, he's the paranormal vampiric boyfriend who will choose to empower you, who will see your potential and push you, but in the best way possible, to be better. He's just probably the most emotionally mature paranormal boyfriend I've seen in a young adult romance in recent days. Also, I mean, he's my poor old scarred boy. He's been through a lot, but he's gained so much emotional maturity from it, and for that, like, I appreciate Hudson Vega. I feel like he makes me realize that I'm not over my vampiric phase. I think he kind of put me in one.
This one was really hard because there's lots of paranormal men, but I'm gonna go with Fallon from That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon. So he's a dragon shifter.
Oh!
So there's one incentive. People aren't fond of demons in this world, and he realizes that that is because of this overarching evil power. And so him and the main character need to go and save all the demons, right? He calls her my love, and he's always looking out for her, but he's still like, I know we're mates, and I know that you can't see that because you're human, so I'm gonna wait for you to come to terms with that yourself before we do anything. And it's just, I love him. Yeah, but also his voice in the audiobook was just, even though she, like, it was a female narrator, the way she did the male voice, it was just, yeah.
Prompt number 4 is the boy that you would want to tame. If you feel like taming anyone, that is. Okay, so I've read the Four Horsemen series by Laura Falasa, and I think all of them need taming in some way, but you know who especially needs taming? Famine needs to be tamed. I appreciate his relationship with Anna, and I appreciate Anna's perspective on Famine. These romances, not at all healthy, because if you know if you know the basic premise of what the Four Horsemen do, you would know that they're not for humanity. That's why they need to be tamed. However, Famine out of all of them is, like, I'd say the most charismatic. I wouldn't say that he's the most romantic. The most romantic out of the four has got to 100% be War. Like, War, as soon as he sees Miriam, he's like, that's my wife, I'm marrying her. Whereas Famine, it took a while to come through, but when he came through, it was so worth it. If there's any fictional boyfriend that I would want to tame, it's 100% Famine.
So I'm gonna go with Lana from St. Abby's Mindfuck series.
Oh,
okay.
Have you guys read that?
I have a colleague who, like, obsesses over that series.
Yeah.
So I want to read it.
So Lana, she's a serial killer. I understand why she's doing it, but also it's legal. So trying to tame, like, that feels so bad. Like, trying to tame someone.
I just talked about the Four Horsemen, so I get it.
But yeah, like, once she's done her due diligence, I'm happy to, like, we can run off in the sunset together. Like, I'll help you, babe. I don't agree with this, but I'll help you.
Supportive taming, you know.
Yeah.
Honestly, I kind of picked a general character because Hades is a character that, like, in certain books, if you've read the Touch of Darkness series, obviously Hades is a character that's quite rough and mean, but it's kind of like, if you can finally get him to be alright, you get to be like Princess of the Underworld, and that's a vibe. But then you've got, like, Lord Olympus, where he's already such a cinnamon roll, but it's like, he's just that kind of character that I feel like out of all of them, it's like, why would you not want to tame the Lord of the Underworld?
Yeah.
If you could.
So then you could be queen.
Yeah, exactly. Like, not that I need to be Persephone because I don't want to deal with the mum, but everything else about the situation would be great.
Prompt number 5 is, boy, you friend-zoned. This pretty much goes with the answer I just mentioned about my paranormal boyfriend. I would friend-zone Jackson Vega. So I specifically chose him because initially I chose, like, a love interest that I don't like whatsoever. Then Abby, I think when we were talking in the group chat, you're like, well, you have to be ready to be friends with them. You have to be willing to be friends with them. And I changed my answer immediately. I would still be willing to be friends with Jackson Vega. I'm not going to spoil anything, interesting because I don't know like if anyone's gonna read the series or not, and I would recommend it to those who are wanting to read like an interesting take on YA vampires. But even though there are things that he could take accountability for, some things are not his fault. That's all I'm gonna say. I think that he does deserve happiness, but unfortunately I ship Grace with someone else. But he's cool. He's cool though.
I think someone from Throne of Glass. Most of my answers are like Sarah J. Maas from
Is it
this
Kale?
point on. No.
Thank God, I feel like everyone friends Kale. He's my favorite.
Fenris.
Oh, yeah.
Because I've always seen him as a platonic character. Like, I would love to be best friends with him, but I would never want anything romantic. But I still feel sad for him. He needs someone, just not me.
Yeah.
But, like, he's definitely that atmosphere of, like, because there's a lot of other characters that I appreciate more in the Sarah J. Maas world. Even Kale. But, like, in that sense, like, I would see Kale more as a romantic side of things than...
Thank you.
But, yeah.
He deserves that.
I know. But, yeah, so I just was like, yeah, looking at this and I was like, Fenris is the perfect one because I want him to be my best friend.
So I did Sarah J. Maas as well, but as real.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, probably same.
We haven't had much to do with him. Like, he would be my gossip queen.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
So someone that feeds me all the goss, like that's just what we'd go out and have like girls' night and just shouting about all the shit going down in the night court. Like, I'd be down for that.
And with the shadows, he's easily gonna get all that info.
Exactly.
Like, you'll be like, go find out what's happening with this person.
Yeah.
Good point. They're still having fun. Promise number 6 is your soulmate. Camilo. Guys, I just have separation anxiety, okay? But I mean, this is a fictional boyfriend's tag, and Camilo is not fictional. He's my real soulmate. In this case, I decided to choose someone who I believe kind of reminds me of Camilo. Reading about him makes me appreciate my husband so much because he very much reminds me of how Camilo would deal with certain situations, and that is Cassian from A Court of Silver Flames. What I appreciate about Cassian is that his partner is his priority. Full stop. He has sworn allegiance to Resend and his court, but at the end of the day, he cares much more about his partner's welfare, cares so much more about how she's doing, and he chooses to prioritize her and her development over what he swore to. And that is a huge risk. He's taking a huge risk because he does owe Reese his life, but at the very same time, how are you ever going to have a healthy partnership with your partner if someone else takes the forefront ahead of the love of your life? Sorry, this is like super cheesy and stuff, but it just reminded me of the times where Camilo would mention to me, you are my family now. As soon as like we got married, he's like, you are my family now, you are my priority now. And so when I was reading A Court of Silver Flames, I got the same vibes from Cassian. I mean, there's so many other things I could talk about, like when it comes to Cassian. He is so romantic, and I think initially I chose him as the most romantic boyfriend because he is very much romantic, but I think at the end of the day, he reminds me of my husband, so I put him as the soulmate answer. Yeah.
Oh,
nice. That's very cute.
Yeah.
I picked Reason.
Yeah.
What can I say? I mean, like, yeah, like I've obviously aged a lot more since I first read the ACOTAR series, but there's just nothing like the experience of reading ACOMAF the first time and just being completely blindsided by this change in romance and story, and then I'm just like, he's perfect. And since then, it's like, even though people are just like, no, Reese isn't great anymore, I'm like, I don't care. I'm going to love him forever. He's a great character, and I just will always love their love story, but like, to me, he's just like that perfect. Like, he's got flaws, but who doesn't, you know? So like, I just love him.
I'm team Nesta all the way though, but I respect it.
So my husband's name is Kale.
Oh!
So Kale.
Yes!
But then also Kale from SJM. From Throne of Glass. Like, I see so many similarities, looks-wise as well as personality. When I read Throne of Glass and Crown of Midnight, and I'm like, Kale and Selena, but then when you read Tower of Dawn, and then Kale and Irene, I see myself in Irene, and I see Kale in Kale.
I love how we all chose Sarah J. Maas.
I also can't relate my character to a husband. Single alone forever.
Not forever.
No, not forever. Unless you want to.
Abby's a hatch, but only if Abby wants to, on Abby's terms. Abby's queen.
Yay.
Prompt number 7. Boyfriend you want to elope with. I find this prompt really funny because I eloped with Camilo anyway, so yeah, but I did not choose Cassian because I did not want to double it. I would choose Harris from The Inadequate Heir by Danielle L. Jensen. So he's the second love interest in the Bridge Kingdom series. The first one is trash. Let's not talk about Aaron. Karis But actually, he's pretty similar to Cassian in a sense where he chooses his partner over who he's meant to be loyal to. He comes from a royal family where the king is quite abusive. He chooses to see the best in the other side, and I know that he would be that one character who would make that decision and be like, you know what, we're eloping. Like, we're getting married and we're running away. Like, I feel like out of all characters that I could think of in terms of love interest, who would be that one that would make that decision and know it's the right decision for him. Read The Inadequate Heir, I recommend it.
Daddy North.
Oh, yes.
Because he's a friggin' billionaire, for starters. So you just know that he'll take you somewhere. If you're his bonded, your priorities are his number one.
Yeah.
And so, like, he already knows what you want. Like, if I could combine North and Griffin, I would. So
Fair enough.
Like, yeah. So if I, because Griffin, like, can see into my mind and, like, knows what I'm thinking. But then North has the capabilities to make it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, North, and plus he's like the dark broody.
I'm like blushing just even thinking about that. Just them, like, two combined.
Oh, yes.
I'm thinking of the no horny boink meme right now. Camilo, if you're watching this, I'm so sorry.
I actually picked a new read because I picked Hale from the High Mountain Court.
Because
have you read the book yet?
No.
Not yet.
No, he's a prince, but like he's not really doing much with it. Like he's had this whole party boy atmosphere and persona for so long, which he's been kind of doing stuff, but now he's got the mission to like do stuff with magic and stuff. But I just feel like he does care about things a lot, but he'd always just at a whim would be like, let's just go get married. And I feel like he's a character that I could potentially like really appreciate doing it with, because there's some that you'd be like, where is the stability to just do this all of a sudden? But because he's like a prince, he's at least got that.
You've chosen a rich person.
Yeah.
I've chosen a prince. You've also chosen a prince.
I mean,
like
North is also like a councilman. So if there was royalty, I feel like he would be.
I love we all went very practical answers. Like, this is impulsive but with security. Thank you.
I didn't even think about the fact that he was a prince. I was just thinking he'd be the most likely to do it, you know, based on his character traits. Prompt number 8 is the boyfriend you would venture anywhere with. And for this one, I would have chosen Desmond Flynn, because if you've read the Bargainer trilogy, you would know that there's a point in the series where himself and Calypso have their own adventure in the middle of the story. It felt very honeymoon-esque, and I appreciated that, but I decided to go with a character who already chooses to go on an adventure with the main character, and this is like the only character that doesn't fall under fantasy and paranormal. Reese Larson.
Oh, okay, yeah. I can see that, yes.
Yeah.
I said the same thing.
Oh, yeah! Finally, someone said the same thing.
Oh my god! Yes! We both know, like, he would make the perfect person to take around, because he's the one who, like, plans the adventure. What is his job description? He's literally a bodyguard, you know? You wouldn't actually expect that, and then all of a sudden he comes through with deciding that he's going to take his love interest on an adventure, and it's just so pure.
Yeah.
It's so wholesome. I just can't get over the fact that he did that. It makes some goals, in my opinion.
Yeah, you said everything I was gonna say. So just Reese motherfucking Larson. Like that's his middle name. I just love him so much. And yeah, when they go to the island, and he's a bodyguard, so he'll protect you.
He speaks for himself.
Yeah, he really does.
Yeah. I picked another Sergio Mas character, but I actually picked Maxian from Crescent City. Because he's one that I could have potentially said as a platonic character as well, but after the life that he has gone through, and the fact that like when he came to Crescent City, like he didn't know what phones were and he didn't know what all these things were, is I feel like because he's been so sad, he needs to be taken on adventures.
Yeah.
And I feel like for this prompt, as I said, saying to go on an adventure with, he's sad. I need to bring this character around. I need to like go places and be like, hey, you will be up for any adventure, right? Because all of your experiences have been hellish. Let's just go get ice cream, or let's go to this next town and do this thing. I feel like after all the things that have happened, he would be so happy to have someone to push him to go places, and that's why I was like, he's the perfect person for this prompt.
Prompt number 9 is boyfriend you'd want to be stranded on a desert island with.
I went Sarah J. Maas again.
Yes.
Lorcan? Oh my god, we'd be out of there so quickly, I swear. I just feel like with the way he was so against having to be with Elid, but then he was like, you know, the ripping up the shirts thing, it always gets to me that I'm just like, that's so sweet. And I just feel like he'd be this like a person to be like safe, you'd feel safe with. Like pretty much any of Sarah J. Maas's men I would feel safe with on a deserted island, but I just feel like we wouldn't be stuck there for long. Like he'd build a boat, he'd do something to get us out of there, and I'm like, thank god I do not have to be stuck on an island for that long. But I just feel like the company would be great too.
Yeah.
He would be going off the chain though, being stuck with someone someone for that long, but I would love it.
I went with Prince Rainier from the Divine Between series. He's the love interest. He is a prince. So if we're stuck on a stranded island, someone's going to be looking for him.
Oh, good point, good point.
And he can also manipulate elements.
Ooh, that's
so he'll be able to like make shelter and things like that. And plus, he's pretty good in bed. So we definitely pass the time very well.
As opposed to you guys, I feel like I've chosen the more wholesome option, also the most clean option. So I've gone with a very non-traditional answer here. I haven't gone with a book answer. I've gone with a manga answer. And I decided to choose someone who is sweet, has a good enough determination for survival skills, and who I feel safe with. I decided to choose Tanjiro from Demon Slayer. I'm not too sure if any of you guys have read or watched Demon Slayer. He's pretty much the front man, the guy who has the kimono with like the green and the black checkers. Tanjiro is so skilled at what he does. He slays demons, and what I appreciate about Tanjiro specifically is that he has such a nurturing aspect to him. I wouldn't say that this is spoilers because this is the premise of the story. His entire family gets unalived by demons, but only his sister survives, but she's turned into a demon. And instead of unaliving her, he decides that he wants to protect her, and he wants to show her the way to pretty much get her invested into humanity to the point where she actually protects humanity rather than destroys it. So he has a nurturing aspect to himself. He's a fighter, he's super skilled, but he's also so lovable. I feel like there are so many anime protagonists who have gone through so much, who show some sort of ruthlessness to them. They're usually unlikable because of their trauma, whereas Tanjiro stays pure and sweet through it all. I just know that if we were to be stranded on a desert island, he would be the loveliest to stay with. I think my initial choice back in the day was like Percy Jackson, you know. I mean, he'd be the easiest because he has, you know, water powers, like he could get you out. But I was thinking, who is probably just as wholesome as Percy Jackson, but also has the fighting spirit and determination? It's Tanjiro. I love him so much. He's adorable. So I think he's probably the most wholesome boyfriend I've mentioned. The final prompt of this tag is the most badass boyfriend.
Rune Dunnan, Crown Prince of the Velbaron Fae. He's so badass, guys. Come on.
He is though.
He always comes in, guns blazing, swords, everything.
Yeah.
I don't know, and then just like his look with his half-shaved head and the lip ring. He's top to resend for book boyfriends, definitely. So he's my favorite SJM male character. So is Hunt, you're just not it.
That's how I feel when I compare Resend to Cassian.
Yeah.
Like, no, Resend, Cassian.
Like if Rune was a viable male counterpart, like if they weren't related, but they are, so you just know he's never gonna be with her.
But like, I mean, he's got his own thing going on.
Yeah,
anyway.
see, and that's badass too. Like going into this mind meld thing with that person. So yeah. I love me some Rune.
I picked Griffin.
Yes!
He is like just beyond badass, and I just love him so much. And like, even though, yeah, as you said, he does a good option for moody boyfriend, but it's like, you know, it's like the leather he wears, he's just badass, he's fighting. And I just like the way that even though his power isn't necessarily like a fighting ability, people are scared of him. And I just love him so much. Like, he's definitely my favorite of the Bonds.
I've chosen someone who is literally badass, and I don't believe any of you guys have read the series. It's another manga, Guts from Berserk.
His name.
Guts, I mean, not just a name, is like badass, but the entire series is essentially a battle, a revenge mission based on what he went through. From volume 3 to volume 14, his prequel is shown. When I first read the series, I'm like, okay, this dude is edgy, like what's his deal? And then it goes back into his backstory and you're like, oh my goodness, he has endured so much. But what I love about the series so much is that even though he is tough as nails, there's some sort of hope that he still holds, or he finds hope. He finds hope through the characters who surround him and the people that he finds throughout the series. And he loves Casca so much. He will do anything to avenge what happened in the series. I mean, he looks badass. You see all the panels and you see how angry he gets and you see how edgy he looks. You see his armor. You're like, oh my goodness, I want that huge sword. Daniel,
yeah, you do.
I love watching... That was not a sexual innuendo. There are two types of people. There are those who have read Berserk and know what I'm talking about, and there are those who read romance but have no idea of what Berserk is. He has a huge sword, and whenever, yeah. I've been perverted. You've corrupted Guts for me.
Another one bites the dust.
Oh my god! Yeah, Yeah, no, so he has a badass look to him, but he truly is badass because he spent all this time on the same revenge mission, but also for a good cause. Like, you know that it's consumed him. He's now in the point of darkness where there's no return, but at the very same time, you kind of appreciate his determination because of how much everyone else suffered. Yeah, that sucked. Anyway, I don't want to talk about it or else I'm gonna start crying. The entire series is so tragic, but Guts has the determination to make things right.
Yeah.
And the series is like still going on. It's been on for 40 volumes and I don't know, 30 years. Guts is just an icon. He's a badass icon. It's my favorite manga. Go read it if you haven't yet. If not, just watch one of Daniel Green's videos on it. He's like obsessed with it as well, and I'm living for the fact that he's obsessed with it. I guess that's gonna be it for this video today, book lovers. If you stay to the end of the video, what emoji do you guys suggest?
I feel like a heart for romance.
Like what kind of heart?
Red?
Okay! Leave a red heart emoji down in the comments so we know that you've been here. And where can they find you, Abby?
I'm on YouTube. I'm on Instagram at I Really See The Book Lover. I think I'm on everything on I Really See The Book Lover. I feel like on the spot now. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Just find me. You'll find me and my links on my channel. And subscribe.
And Sasha?
You can find me Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Be Real, Sash Reads.
If you happen to enjoy this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet already. Join the amazing community of book lovers. And I also have social medias. I'm at GSwizzleBooks on Twitter and Instagram, and I'm also Goodreads. That's www.goodreads.com/GSwizzle. And finally, I'm at TikTok and GSwizzle on TikTok if you want to follow me there for some bookish content. Yay! We did it! Yay! We love you, book lovers, and we will see you later. Peace.
Started out with half and I flipped it into double. Started out with half and I flipped it into double.